What is up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. We are going crazy right now for Bitcoin. Had to jump in. Happy Friday, guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Let's just jump into this, guys. Looked at the charts. Obviously, been watching them all day. We finally are getting a massive breakout. Bitcoin right now just hit $123,000. What's going on, Ricky? We are getting a little bit of a pullback as of now as we speak, but things are looking great, guys. Things are looking great. Absolutely great. Let me switch over to a different chart real quick. There we go. Yeah, so like I said, Bitcoin just had a little bit of a break. Well, we've had a massive breakout, but Bitcoin just topped 100. On this chart, it's telling me 122.950, but we did see on the other chart 123. It looks like we do have a spot for some slight resistance on this chart, somewhere around 122,770. So we are currently around that area right now, looking like we want to start to break out. But on other charts that I've been looking at, we have actually seen 123,000 as of today. So what is going on? We're going to cover everything that's going on right now in the markets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, alts, TJ's in the house. What's going on, brother? So we're going to cover everything here as we move. So let's just jump right into this. This was a spontaneous stream here, so I'm a little discombobulated. But looking at the bubbles for today, you guys can see massive moves across the board. I will say, looking at a lot of alts right now, you look at these alts and they look like a lot of them are moving, other than MYX, which has been absolutely killing it the last 2 weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised today it's having a big sell-off. But across the board, everything's moving big. BNB probably at all-time highs. We'll pull that up 9% today. Pancake swap 34%. That's obviously a big swap that's on Ethereum. Absolutely killing it. SPX 6900. Zcash again up 14, almost 15% for the day. So it looks across the board like everything is running. I will say a lot of also, as of earlier today, we're actually down. And we're going to talk about why the alts were down. And basically, we've kind of got into a brief zone where it's the Bitcoin show again, right? And I'm going to explain to you why this is probably a good thing and what has happened in history at this exact time 4 years ago. Need some water real quick. So let's jump right into this, guys. Let me check the chat real quick. Jake, thoughts on Crow? We'll pull that up here. Bill, what's going on, bro? What is going on? Jake said thoughts on Crow. Obviously, Crow's going to do well, given what was that, 2 months ago, we got that big announcement with Trump, with Trump's, Liberty, whatever, that their company, they own, 10% of the supply now, I believe. I don't remember the exact article, but I would imagine there's some big things in store for Crow. And this channel, this is where we came from. We came from DeFi Chronos, so obviously we want to see Crow do really well. And I think down the road it is. And I mean down the road, probably as alts start picking back up, Crow's obviously going to start picking back up as well. Are we going to finally see that dollar Crow? Who knows? I would be surprised if we don't during this parabolic bull run that we're about to be seeing as far as with alts. So real quick, we just broke 123,000, guys. Look at this. This is insane. Absolutely insane. This is crazy. And what's so crazy is, we talked about this all during August, going into September, that September was going to be one of those months where it was just going to be not necessarily brutal, but just mentally brutal, right? And that's exactly what we've seen, going into September. But now that we're finally into Pumptober, look at this. 3 days in, and Bitcoin's literally approaching all-time highs. We are currently where we're at right now. Currently, as far as all-time highs, we are literally, for Bitcoin, we're 1% away, less than 1% away. Are we going to break all-time highs right now? We could. So I wanted to talk about something real quick. So right now, this is Bitcoin's Bitcoin dominance. I'm going to fast forward real quick. So we did see a little bit of a bounce and dominance for Bitcoin, right? And I don't mean it's like a massive bounce, but we have seen somewhat of a nice little move towards the upside for dominance for Bitcoin, right? You can see a nice little trend, higher lows being made. We dropped down so far for this cycle. Our lowest has been about 57.2, and I mean within this local time frame, 57.2 has been the low point as of now, and we are sitting at it right under 59%. So we are starting to see that Bitcoin has kind of taken over the show for now. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I believe Flip brought this up like a few days ago in the Discord. He said that he heard another YouTuber or another stream. Someone was talking about this, and I actually looked at it today. This, what I have circled, is actually Bitcoin's dominance back 4 years ago, right? Because we still are believing into that 4-year cycle until proven wrong, right? And if you actually look, this, what I have circled right here, the beginning of that circle, which I'm going to delete, but you can literally look right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But right here on this green candle is October the 4th, 2021, right? Isn't that crazy? You saw dominance drop, coming into September, right? August, September, kind of bottomed out. And then going into October, we saw a little bit of a spike in dominance, right? And I'm telling you guys, as of now, we have literally, it hasn't been the exact same, but we are literally showing signs of something similar happening. Now, again, we easily can go into an extended rally going into 2026. This doesn't mean much as far as like what I'm saying. Like this for sure we are topping out in November, no matter what. No, we easily can show similarities of the last bull run 4-year cycle, and we could easily, for whatever reason, go into 2026, the first quarter, still rallying, right? Like I said, we're planning on a high somewhere in November, maybe December, but if we go extended, more money for us, right? So planning for the 4-year cycle, but obviously hoping for that extended cycle. Back to what I was saying though, you can see we consolidated in dominance back in, this was in September of 2021, going into October 4th hit, and look at this massive move towards the upside for dominance, right? And that's exactly what we're starting to see. We've actually already started to see it, because if you really think about it, the move towards the upside actually started at the end of September. And if we fast forward, it's literally to the T what we're seeing right now with dominance, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin continues to hold dominance over the market, right? It's the Bitcoin show like we've seen for a while. We were seeing that Ethereum was outperforming Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a shift and maybe Bitcoin takes over, the lead for right now for these next few weeks, and then we get into some kind of a massive altcoin season. This is what I'm thinking we're going to see, guys. And this has played out before, literally. You can see September, October, and at the end of this peak right here in dominance, this was in October of 2021. This was the 20th, right? So going into that third week of October, we basically hit some kind of a local high. And guess what all this was next? Was altcoin season, basically, right? Because remember, we topped out. This right here, this move towards the downside was altcoin season, because we basically topped out in November, third week of November of 2021. So you can see this is all starting to look very, very similar to what we're seeing right now, right? So we'll see how this plays out, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin kind of takes the reins for right now, starts breaking, makes obviously new all-time highs, right? It gets to some point, who knows, 130, maybe 135. Who knows? We got to see what the momentum's looking like as far as with Bitcoin. But I'm just throwing out numbers. I mean, we could easily run up to 150 before the Bitcoin show's over. But all while this is happening, you're still going to see Ethereum doing well, right? You're probably going to see Ethereum breaking all-time highs. It's just not going to be as fast, right? If you remember, you go back a month ago, Ethereum kind of took over. It was just breaking out. Bitcoin was kind of stagnant, and Ethereum was taking over, was outperforming, right? I think what we're going to do, like I keep saying, is we're going to shift back over to where Bitcoin's going to take over the show. Ethereum's still going to do well. Alts will probably do well, but you're not going to see these massive breakouts yet. Here and there, you are going to see breakouts with some of these altcoins, but you're not going to see a full-blown altcoin season yet, right? I think as we get into October, we get into a few weeks, let Bitcoin do its thing. Let Bitcoin run the show. It's going to bring in a lot more money. A lot more eyes are going to start, that aren't looking at crypto as of now. They're going to start focusing the news. Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs. This is what we need, guys, for people to start coming in. We've talked about this all year. This is what we need. So everything's starting to play itself out. Things are looking good, and I wouldn't be surprised, depending on where we top out. Bitcoin might break all-time highs right now. Remember, we are Friday, right? So the markets, I am planning, or I'm expecting, depending on where we go, we will probably see a little bit of a cool off at some point, given that the markets are going to be closing, in the next, 4 hours for the next 2 days, obviously going into the weekend. So that's what I'm pretty much predicting for right now. So if your alts aren't absolutely ripping, right, you're still technically in a good buy zone for a lot of these alts, right? I mean, you're looking at like some of these projects, other than like Solana and XRP that have broke out. Today, Solana technically is down. XRP is up about 1%, but they did see a big breakout in the last few days with the ETF talks coming up. We're pretty much guaranteed for ETFs to be approved in less than 2 weeks for both of those projects. But other than that, I mean, like pointing out some of these projects like ICP. ICP right now is down, or it's at $4.60, right? Fetch AI, 60 cents, right? Still under $1. Jasmy, 1.3 cents. So you still have plenty of opportunity right now to really get into some of these projects before we start seeing that massive takeout. Ethereum, yes, has broken out. It is pretty high right now. Solana as well, which I do believe Solana is going to easily double where it's at. And XRP, again, same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if XRP doubles from where it's at the top of the parabolic spot that we're going to be seeing. Given that these projects, big caps, have done pretty well, there are still a handful of projects that honestly are still in some beautiful buy zones right now. And meme coins are still a buy right now, in my opinion, for a lot of them. So let me just jump back into the chat real quick. Got on a little rant there. Jake said, does Bitcoin have a cooldown for alts to run? And that's a good question, Jake. I know you asked this probably like 5 minutes ago, but that's a good question. So if you remember, just like 2 weeks ago, if you remember when Ethereum, or maybe it was like a month ago, when Ethereum was breaking out to almost $5,000, right? Was a few weeks back. If you remember, Bitcoin was sitting kind of stagnant. I believe it was like around 115 to maybe 115, 117, if I'm not mistaken. But it wasn't selling off. It just wasn't really reacting crazy like you're seeing Ethereum and Bitcoin running together. What happened is because at that time, dominance was dropping, meaning money was flowing into the market, but a lot of it was going towards Ethereum particularly and some of these other alts, not 100% going in to Bitcoin. When you're seeing stuff like this, where this was a trend that we had just broken recently, a 3-year trend where majority of the money that was coming into the crypto space was solely going into Bitcoin. That's why we were seeing Bitcoin breaking out, making all-time highs, and alts were kind of just sitting there. Well, it's kind of reverse. But while this is happening, you're not going to see Bitcoin selling off and breaking down below $100,000 or anything like that, because remember, Bitcoin's king, right? Bitcoin runs the show. So as long as Bitcoin, and I said this months ago, once we broke at like 120, I was like, listen, we're at a spot. I would love for Bitcoin to get higher, but we're at a spot right now where Bitcoin doesn't even really need to do much anymore for us to really run as far as Ethereum and the rest of the alts, because Bitcoin is at such a solid spot that now you can see a lot of money coming in, and now they're going to basically get into more riskier assets like the altcoins, if that makes any sense. So to answer your question, Bitcoin will continue to move up, most likely, if not kind of stay at a solid spot wherever it tends to be, whenever we finally get into like a crazy parabolic stage. But you're not going to see Bitcoin selling off whatsoever. If anything, you're going to see Bitcoin kind of running with Ethereum, but not outperforming Ethereum. That's really the big thing, is like at some point, we saw it all year. Bitcoin was outperforming everything else, right? And then it shifted. Ethereum started to outperform everything else. And then at some point, it's going to shift from there to where big caps, other than Ethereum, are going to start outperforming Ethereum and Bitcoin. And then guess what? Then we start going into this crazy parabolic stage where just money's just flowing into everything. And that's when you're seeing mid and small caps just absolutely, I mean, not it's the to say outperforming is not even correct. It would be like shitting on Ethereum and Bitcoin what some of these gains are going to be for some of these small meme coins and small cap projects and mid cap projects that are kind of just sitting around right now waiting for this money to flow in. So it goes in stages. I actually posted it on our Discord, the phases that we go through that we've seen every 4 years is how it works, right? Bitcoin runs the show. Then at some point it shifts over to Ethereum. Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin. And then at some point, down the road, you'll see big caps start outperforming like I just explained on Ethereum and so on from there. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, we're still at such a great time, in my opinion, if you're not buying in on Bitcoin or Ethereum, that there's a lot of projects right now that are just right there at that tipping point where they're at still good buys, right? But at any time, any moment, right? Any day now, any week now, they're going to start freaking going crazy. And you're going to be looking at some of these projects that maybe you're considering right now. 2 weeks from now, I'm just throwing a time frame, they could be easily 2-3x from where we're at right now. That's how fast it works. So guys, listen, I'm sorry I'm like delayed on the chat right now. So Flip said, "What's up, future millionaires? What's going on, bro?" Craig, I'm playing it like last bull run. I'm taking profits the end of October, December, then leave moon bags in case it keeps running. Ain't missing out on this time. Hell yeah. Crypto Meow, what's going on, brother? What's going on, bro? Flip said we're ahead of the cycle because of all-time highs before the halving. Yep. Let's see here. Crypto Meow said I'm waiting for Dog Elon. Like, what the f? I only have that coin, so I kind of only have to wait. I hear you, bro. I mean, bro, I pray that project freaking explodes, because I know it's been rough. A lot of people from just 2021 still holding that project, right? So hopefully at some point that thing starts to break out. We've talked about it a lot. That one breakout like 4 months ago was crazy. It was up like 300% in a day. And I told everybody, I was like, if you are in this project, even if you're at a loss right now, freaking reposition yourself, because it's going to come right back down. And you could either reposition yourself, buy at the low, or freaking look at this as exit liquidity, So Ethereum, pulling up Ethereum right now. Ethereum's sitting in such a beautiful spot right now where obviously it's not at all-time highs. It's a little bit farther down from Bitcoin right now, but you can see, I mean, we are not far from highs on Ethereum. We're literally about 8% away. But this has just been holding some massive support levels where you just know as soon as the ingredients all come into fruition, right, for the market, Ethereum is going to just it's going to break that 5,000 mark. And then from there, we're going to be in price discovery mode where it's just going to be going crazy, in my opinion, where we're not really going to have, there's always going to be resistance at, spots like 5,100, 5,200, 5,300, but you're going to be in price discovery mode where I wouldn't be surprised if we easily shatter 5,000, and we're talking about a $6,000-$7,000 Ethereum literally within the next few weeks, within the next month or two, in my opinion. It's just so close. And same thing for Solana and XRP. I really do believe that both those projects as well are going to be shooting up like crazy. So the market cap right now, did we break all-time highs for the market cap? Let's see. We did, guys. We just broke all-time highs for the market cap. We did $4.23 trillion market cap for crypto. I wanted to say Ethereum, I wanted to say Bitcoin, but as a whole, we have literally broke all-time highs as we speak right now, guys. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if we easily see a few $1 trillion come flying in on the market in the next couple months. I wouldn't be surprised. This is insane. Absolutely insane here. Let's look at a couple things here. So right now, looking at the month, obviously for October, we're now up currently about 6%. This is for Bitcoin. We talked about this on our members only stream for October. You guys can see, I mean, out of 12 years, there's only been 2 red months historically for October. That's why we call October usually Pumptober. Even during bear markets, October tends to be a decent month. Even like if you go back to like 2022, that was when we were in the thick of like a bear market. You can see red. October was green, and then November took all the gains. Red, December red. So I mean, even during bear markets, October seems to be a good month. But if you look at the bull markets, you go back to the last bull market, 2021, Bitcoin ran up 39.93%. 39.93% in October. I think we did this on the members only stream, right? So let's just look at like the beginning of October. Where were we at when we rolled over to October? It's like the markets, like right when we rolled into October, we've been rallying. But I want to see something real quick. October 1st, right here. If we were to move up 40% from in October, I want to see. Let's see, where would we be at? Where's October? Right there it is. All right. So we'll go from here. I don't even have enough room. Bro, do you guys understand how much Bitcoin would run if we saw a 40% move? October. That's a 40% right there. Where would we be at? Damn it, I couldn't see the price. Hold on. I should get a different chart here, but I'm being lazy. Let me pull up a different chart. I'm like really curious to see. All right. Let's move this down. October the 1st. 40% move. October the 1st. Dude. There. All right. Finally. 40%. Bro, that would put Bitcoin right under 160K. Holy crap. $159,672 to be exact. If Bitcoin was to see a 40% run like it did the last cycle, right? On the last cycle. Absolutely crazy, guys. And could you imagine what that would set up as far as an altcoin season? If we were to see Bitcoin top out somewhere around 160K, just even a local top, right? I mean, take out the extended, theory and all that stuff. Just a local top. If we saw that in October, right, 160K, bro, that would literally, we would probably see a $10 trillion market cap for the whole crypto space, literally in like the next 8 weeks is what it would be setting itself up for. Right now, Bitcoin is at 123,551. Twan's in the house. What's going on, bro? Let's see here. I don't want to skip anybody. Bill said the question is, what price does Bitcoin need to hit for retail to start FOMOing? And it's not even really about the price anymore, bro. It's really not about the price anymore for Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, this is the higher the better, right? But it's really not about that. It's really going to be just it's really just going to be, I think, Ethereum, I think Solana, I think XRP. I think those are going to be really the drivers of retail FOMOing in. And I say that because we've explained this before. Most of the time when new investors are coming in and they download their Robinhood app or whatever they're using, because I say Robinhood because that usually tends to be the first exchange that users that are getting into crypto space, even investing in stocks, they usually get that, or Webull because it's free trading, right? They download their app and they're looking at what to buy. Let's say, Bill comes in, he's got $5,000 and he's like, all right, I want to buy some stuff here. Bitcoin's at 130,000, right? Ethereum's at 5,000. It's a little bit how they're looking at it as they're getting a bigger bang for their buck if they can get a whole Ethereum versus getting that 0.00001 Bitcoin, if that makes any sense, right? And then on top of that, maybe they know already about a Solana, or maybe they're coming there just to get XRP. XRP's at like $4 at this time, right? Speaking hypothetically, they're looking at it as, holy crap, I can get, 1,000 XRPs for this money I have versus, buying a whole Ethereum or buying a little fraction, a few Satoshis of Bitcoin, right? If that makes any sense. So I feel like we're at a spot for Bitcoin. As long as we stay at some of these big levels for Bitcoin, retail is going to come in because everything else is going to start moving. Everything else is going to drive retail in. Ethereum, Solana, XRP, meme coins. Meme coins are usually the first thing that people invest in. Believe it or not, meme coins, right? So that's what I'm telling you. Meme coins are going to absolutely rip, but they always follow behind everything else, right? So we're seeing the big move in Bitcoin back to break all-time highs. We're going to see it. Same thing for Ethereum. I keep saying Solana, XRP, big caps are all going to get their shine, and then that money is going to trickle in, and that's when you're going to see a lot of retail FOMOing in because it's all over the news. Everybody's talking about it. Grandma's bringing it up. It's the holiday season. It's Thanksgiving, and she's asking you, Bill, I heard about this Shiba. What? How the hell do I buy Shiba? I'm telling you, it's a true story. My grandmother didn't ask me that, but I always tell everybody. I remember the last bull run. I'm in the gym, and someone comes up to me, and they're like they're like probably 70, maybe getting close to 80. I don't know, right? I don't want to offend anybody, but they're up there. And they come up to me, and I'm thinking they're just gonna say hello and ask how my parents are or something like that. And he comes up and he's like, "Hey, my wife keeps telling me to buy Shiba. How do I buy Shiba?" This was in 2021. I was like, what? I was like, she knows about Shiba? He's like, yeah, she keeps asking me about Shiba. And I'm like, oh my God. At the time, I'm not thinking, red flag. That's a top signal right there. When grandma's asking you about meme coins, we're getting close to a top. That's retail right there. It got all the way to grandma, right? So new investors already probably were in it, before that. But the point of the story is a lot of these mid cap and big cap projects, other than Bitcoin, are what's going to drive retail coming in. So Tuan said, damn, I can't believe we came this far, guys. Here since Milady was popping up. Hell yeah. I hear you, bro. I hear you. And I don't even think we haven't even, it feels good because we're like, we're literally like just getting into this, as far as this parabolic, area that I think we're really getting into, but we haven't even seen anything yet, in my opinion. We haven't seen anything yet. Let's cover some stories real quick. So, I thought this was pretty cool. Anybody that lives in New York, New Yorkers, $12,000 in crypto given to New Yorkers with no strings attached. I might go move up to New York for a little while just to claim that if this is true. So a fascinating experience is taking place in the U.S. right now. 160 people are going to be given $12,000 in crypto over the next 5 months with no strings attached. The initiative is a collaboration between Coinbase and the nonprofit Give Directly, which allows users to send money to the world's poorest, with 95.5 million distributed to more than 140,000 people in the past year. All 160 of the individuals involved in this trial are 18 to 30 years old and based in New York. They're getting a lump sum of $8,000 in the form of USDC stablecoin, along with 5 further installments. I almost didn't roll off the tongue there, but installments worth $800 each. So they're going to get that initial $8,000, and then they're going to get another, I believe, $4,000, right? Another $4,000 in installments of $800 each. Let's see here. So Give Directly is also hoping to reach out to those who may have negatively experienced the traditional financial institutions in the past, perhaps because they're unbanked or have struggled to access certain services. Regardless, right? I think this is pretty cool. I wish they would spread it out though. Instead of giving 160 people $12,000, I wish they would give like 10,000 people like $1,000. You know what I'm saying? And not allow them to transfer it straight to their bank, right? They have to make trades. But I think that's pretty cool because this is only going to bring, obviously, money's already in there. They're giving it to them in USDC, so it's not going to be new money coming in. But this is just basically long term. I think it's pretty cool because it's just basically showing people how crypto works, and you guys know how it is, right? You remember your first time jumping into crypto? I know I always tell you guys my first experiences of just getting into crypto. Friend told me 2020, you should go buy Dogecoin. He had a country accent. He's like, you should go buy Dogecoin. And I was like, really? I was like, how the hell do you do that? This is in 2020, right? I already knew about Bitcoin, right? But I didn't, ever really like buy into it or anything like that. And he's like, just download Robinhood. And I did that, and I was buying Dogecoin at 2 cents, and he kept telling me, he's like, just keep buying and just let it be, and eventually cashed out when we saw a massive run, and I was hooked. I was like, hell yeah, bro, this is awesome. I started learning charts and stuff like that. This is what these people are gonna go through, right? So I think it's pretty cool. Coinbase is funding it, so it is what it is. It's not like it's like the government handing out free money or anything like that. So I think it's pretty cool. Another article, Bitcoin above 120K. Here's the 3 data points bulls must watch next. So Bitcoin is back above 120. This was as of earlier. The market has clean data to read instead of just vibes. Spot pushed through the important $120,000 level on October the 2nd, which was yesterday, with a close near 120,600 after a plus 5.5% climb from September 29th. And it's holding level today, even with a small give back. The spike in spot price isn't an isolated act. Bitcoin ETFs printed 2 straight days of heavy net creations, roughly $676 million in October 1st and $627 million in October the 2nd. So we already had $1.2 billion in inflows as of October 1st and 2nd. Right after a messy stretch of outflows around September 25th and 26th. At the same time, futures and options rebounded quickly into October. Bitcoin futures opened up, interest rose from $700.22 billion on September the 29th to $88.5 billion by October the 3rd, while options climbed from $41.5 billion to $52 billion. Volume followed through, with futures turnover jumping from $48.59 billion on September the 29th to $111 billion on October the 2nd, and exchange activity picked up midweek. The mix of spot demand through creations, fresh derivative exposures, and heavy churnout set the stage for a further upside in Q4. The late September ETF shakeout matters because it reset positionings and then flipped quickly to creations. When you get back-to-back days after $600 million in net inflows, the primary market observes coins and forces authorized participants to source Bitcoin. That tightening shows up in a price faster than it shows up in the headlines. It also changes the intraday liquidity. Spreads generally compress when creations are active, and arbitrage turns into a two-way street again. If the flows stay net positive through the week, the spot side won't need heroics from perpetuals to keep 120,000. It just needs the curation machine to keep grinding. So, I mean, I know that was a lot of gibberish for most of us, but basically what it's stating is the differences from just last week, right, at the end of September, to just the last few days, really, because the end of September was Monday and Tuesday, right? So just from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we've seen already $1.2 billion of inflows for Bitcoin, obviously, but just bringing in that demand. And you can see that it's easily switched the market over from being kind of, I'm not going to say bearish, but being in a boring stage like we talked about all last month, into where we're at right now, where Bitcoin is literally like 0.5% away from all-time highs. Let's see here. Yeah, 0.56% away from all-time highs as of now. So, I mean, you guys can see things are looking good, guys. That's how fast the market shifts. And like I keep telling you guys, I know it's like you hear it, but you want to experience it. Wait until we just absolutely start getting into that parabolic stage. It is going to come, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to come. We just don't know exactly when, right? This market has been a little, this, not market, but this season, this bull season that we've been in, it's been a little wonky. Like Flip said, we've done a little things like where we made all-time highs before the halving, right? Because we had ETFs, and stuff like that. So, and it's been, all over the place. But no matter what, remember what I just showed you guys at the beginning of the stream, right? Things look very similar to what we saw just 4 years ago. We looked at dominance. Dominance is doing exactly the same thing it did 4 years ago, right? Where it dropped, and now we're seeing a little bit of a spike during October as Bitcoin is going to take the show, make all-time highs. Who knows where Bitcoin's headed? And then it's going to pass the mic back over to Ethereum, and then from so on and so on, as far as trickling down into the market, where we're going to see a lot of FOMOing at that point. So, and then the last article that we do have, BlackRock's $24 billion Bitcoin flywheel is moving Bitcoin liquidity from 800% growth. I don't know anything about this. We'll just read it real quick. We'll see. So BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin Trust has taken in $23.8 billion in net inflows this year, while the firm's tokenized U.S. Treasury fund BUIDL has expanded roughly 800% over the 18 months. So basically, what they're talking about is they're basically talking about the ETFs that we were just talking about, right? It's basically they've taken in almost $24 billion worth of inflows this year alone, just on BlackRock's ETFs. We're not even talking about any of the other 7 ETFs that are available. We're just talking about just BlackRock's $24 billion in just inflows. And they basically are stating right here, if I can see, they're pretty much talking about how we've, well, let's see here. So as of $24 billion arrived over roughly 275 days, the run rate is about $87 million daily. At $90,000 per Bitcoin, that equates to about 970 Bitcoin of applied daily demand. At 120, it's about 725 Bitcoin, and at 130 would be about 160 or 170 Bitcoin per day that they're taking in as far as inflow. And I'm sure they're probably considering the outflows as well. That's how much they're averaging in inflows daily. Literally at this price right now, over 700 Bitcoin. Literally are getting eat up by Wall Street every single day, guys. Every single day. What's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing? Make sure you guys slap those likes. Slap those likes, bro. Are we going into this weekend? What is this weekend going to bring? Right? What is the weekend going to bring? I think my big thing for this weekend, for Bitcoin at least, is that hopefully we can hold some solid numbers. We're going to see a little bit of a cool off. I'm anticipating probably in the next few hours where Bitcoin could easily come back to retest some of these numbers. And I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, think about it. Just a few days ago, we came up, I say just a few days ago, it was just yesterday. We came up 121, and we came back and we back test 119,500. We actually broke below at 119,261, but you can see we held support at that support level. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look at this massive run that we've seen today, that at some point, depending on where we head, we're going to come back to retest, one of these areas for some support. Hopefully we can hold some solid numbers going into the weekend, and going into next week. So let me see. Also, the Feds. It's crazy to say this, but I felt like it was just the other day, but we already have another Fed meeting coming up in literally a little over 3 weeks from now. And the market pretty much is calling in, as of now, they're calling in some kind of a either a 25, maybe a 50 basis point, 97.8%, or at least calling some kind of a 25 basis point reduction in October. Is that October? Yeah, that's October. So, and then December, which I don't really like to get ahead of ourselves, but you can see 87% of the market is calling for another 0.25%. So we'll see how this plays out. I know the last meeting, it was a big deal. Like we all were talking about it. We streamed it live, but it really wasn't that big of a deal after, because of just being in September. It was a shitty month. But I think as we move month to month, and we, at least if we see these quarters reductions, I think it's going to start really taking effect as far as risk on assets for the market. So historically, rates get reduced, riskier assets like Bitcoin and pretty much everything, stock market, everything usually will tend to perform positively for that. So S&P, look at this, all-time highs. Check your 401k right now. S&P right now at all-time highs. Technically, the all-time high is at 67.52, so we're right below it. But we've been making all-time highs as the last couple days as we've gotten into October. We saw a little bit of a drop down going into towards the end of September, right? And then obviously you're seeing a nice little rebound for that. And with that being said, gold right now, gold's been killing it too, man. Gold's all-time high is sitting right at around 38.97. We're at 38.82 right now. So gold's been reaping the benefits as well right now. So, and silver, I mean, there's pretty much across the board, investment-wise, everything's been doing good. So, and looking at the whole crypto space right now, like I said earlier, we pulled up the bubbles. I mean, everything just seems to be going in the right direction. Let's look at the hourly. Yeah, I mean, nice 3 to 5%. Weekly, you see some solid movers. Zcash is up 167%. Pump 43%. Pancake Swap 37%. But what's crazy is most of those gains were actually from today. It's up 33% as of today. So, looking at DeFi on my list, everything looks to be doing pretty good. Let me see here. Nothing really. Farcoin. I pointed out Farcoin. Was it last week? I think it was, or I don't know if it was the beginning of this week. Farcoin got down to about 55 cents, and I called it out. And you're seeing, obviously, it's at around 68 cents if this chart will ever load up. What's going on here? There it is. What are we looking at? Oh, 1 minute. I'm like, why does it look... But look at this drop. We had some support at 54 cents, right? And look at Farcoin starting its rebound. This right here was probably, when we look back at it, was going to be an easy 2x. It's already up 25%. Farcoin's going to probably go right back up to that $1 mark. Like, so easily. It was so easily called out. 54 cents. This thing is easily going to go right back up to $1, most likely. You know, so a nice move, already up 25% in the last few days just for Farcoin. So, and I've seen it for a lot of these meme coins, but right now what I will say is even my meme coins that I'm invested in, they're doing all right. They've seen a rebound, but they haven't really gone crazy, right? You're looking at some of these like Brett, right? Brett's the biggest meme coin that's on base. Look at that. It broke below the trend, and it's starting to come back up to the trend line right here. So I'm sure it's going to have a little bit of resistance. But the point of what I'm bringing up is that you're looking at a lot of these meme coins, and they're not really doing much yet, right? They're not doing much yet. Give it time. And this is why I said at the beginning of the stream, in my opinion, a lot of these meme coins, even though they bounced from these bottoms that we just saw, hindsight buying down there during all that fear played out, obviously, right? Like we always say. But even where they're at right now, let's see, Brett's up about 23% from that bottom. Even where it's at right now, I'm sure Brett's going to probably do very well in these next few weeks, these next coming month or two. It's probably going to, start shooting up, and wouldn't be surprised if it, we're talking about an all-time high for Brett, and probably for not every, but most meme coins, across the board. You have Brett, Toshi's another one that's on base, right? Again, you can see the chart. It's up from the bottom, right? From its bottom, but really not going crazy. It actually had a nice little run at the end of September, and then you saw the nice little reset. It's up from the bottom, right? From the bottom of the other day, but it hasn't really gone crazy yet. Still giving beautiful opportunity. It's up about 18.5%. Still a beautiful opportunity to be jumping in on some of these meme coins before everybody's talking about them again, right? You want to buy them before everybody starts talking about them, because when everybody's talking about them, I'm not going to say it's too late, but you're buying at a high, or not a high, but you're buying 40, 50, 60% higher than what you could be buying right now. And also five days ago, already 25% on some of these meme coins. So that's how it goes, guys, right? You got to buy when these people when the markets are shitty and it just seems like it's so hard to hit that buy button. Not financial advice, but that's when I'm just sitting there with a big grin on my face and I am just shopping. I'm buying, I'm adding to my bags, taking advantage of these dips. Not worried. It sucks. It is kind of hard even hitting that buy button because you're like, shit, it's probably going to drop more. But I'm just like, whatever. So I don't buy it all at once. I just DCA, So are we seeing the cool down now? So Bitcoin so far came up close to 124. We went up to about 123.9 on this chart, right? And we are down to about 122.8, 122.9 as of now. So was that the high for today? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But regardless, I think this is great. This is bringing some new light into the market, getting everybody back going, showing you how fast things obviously already move when things start moving. When we start cooking, we're cooking, right? So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. As of now, let me refresh this Twitter feed real quick and see if there's anything that we need to see. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lark. I wanted to talk about this too. So supposedly, there's talks of possible stimulus checks given out to all taxpayers in America. I know that sounds crazy, right? But this could happen, guys. And this is also what happened in 2021. Isn't it freaking crazy? We saw stimulus checks, obviously because of the pandemic. But this right here, more money flowing around. Some of that money is going to end up going into crypto, right? So this would be a positive. I don't know how I feel about, with inflation and stuff like that. If you hand everybody $2,000, shit's going to start getting expensive again. But I guess we'll go through that. I guess if we make $1 million each on crypto, we're not going to really care if, eggs go back up to, $7 a dozen, right? Because we're millionaires now, right? I guess. So Lark, I'm quoting him. He said, "This is absolutely massive. Trump wants to give $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks to all taxpayers using tariff revenue. You know what that means? This is exactly what happened in 2020, right? 2020, 2021, really. And once again, Trump is going to send big fat checks basically saying, go buy dog coins." That's crazy. Crypto or Wendio, she says things you might have missed. Major banks predict $135,000 Bitcoin next week. Stocks are pumping. Ripple helps launch a new center for digital assets. BNB hit all-time highs. And Trump opposes U.S. stimulus checks. I thank you, Wendy, for that. I really do appreciate that right there. That's like the lowdown right there. That could have made the stream 2 minutes long right there. Just read that. Carl from the Moon, we're about to witness the biggest super cycle ever. Isn't it crazy? These guys have been pretty bullish even through last month because they knew what was coming, but it's crazy how the market it's just shifting so fast back to being bullish, right? Carl said 4 hours ago, we're all going to be rich. Stay humble. Carl's already rich. That guy's already so filthy rich. He said, we're all going to be rich. He forgot to put the at the end of his. Binance founder CZ confirms BNB season. Nice. Oh yeah, guys. Is that Wendy? Hell yeah, guys. So listen, things are looking good. Obviously, Bitcoin just came up, basically retested 124 right below it. Let's see how this plays out. Ethereum's at 45 plus 100. The markets are in the green. Again, like I said, I think meme coins are lagging right now. So probably good times, not financial advice, but good times to be just checking them out. Maybe jumping in on some of these meme coins or adding to your bags before the final takeoff. Like I keep saying, the market looks great. Everything looks great. We have a lot of big things. We're in Pumptober, guys. So I hope you guys are ready. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. If you haven't already, please slap the like. If you're new, hit that subscribe. If Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, I will be right back. I promise you. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you can get that freaking alert. I don't care if it's in 5 minutes from now. I will literally be right back if we break all-time highs, all right? And so on. If that happens tonight, as long as I'm not out and about because it is Friday, I will go live. All right, guys? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. Have a safe weekend. Members, I'll see you guys this weekend. We'll have a member stream. Other than that, you guys be safe out there, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? All right. Thank you. See ya.